Hey, good evening everybody. Tonight I'm going to show you how to make my favorite burger recipe. I call these BBQ Sauce Burgers. These are super easy to make and they taste really good. So what you're going to need is 1 pack of extra lean ground beef. This one's about 2.5 pounds, and a 1/2 cup each of panko breadcrumbs and whatever your favorite barbecue sauce is. And you will need a little oil for the pan because they do get a little sticky because the meat is extra lean, and also because of the barbecue sauce. Get the meat in a good sized mixing bowl. I always measure the panko first, because that way you don't have to worry about cleaning the cup. And just sprinkle that on top. Barbecue sauce. Yeah, and since you're going to be having to get your hands in here for this, don't worry about scraping it out with your fingers, which of course you washed before you started, right? And just pick it up and just start mixing it in with your hands. If you want to use a glove, like a rubber glove or a food service glove, by all means be my guest. So once you've got your meat all mixed up, and you've got all the sauce and the breadcrumbs evenly distributed, it should sort of resemble meatloaf mixture. So what you want to do now, and you can use a scale for this if you want, I just like to visualize it. So what I'll do is I'll split it in half and then split it in quarters, okay, and then take each piece and make 2 burgers out of that. So you're going to get 8 burgers out of that. And I do keep a plate on the side to put the finished burgers on. So just kind of eyeball it and take your lump of meat and break it in half. And put half back in the bowl. So this is a quick lesson for new cooks that have never made burgers before. Generally, flatter is better to start off with because if you just leave them like this, they will shrink and you'll kind of get things that look like baseballs, and they look really nice but they don't cook really well and they tend to be raw in the middle. So what you want to do first is kind of squeeze it flat and just turn it with your hands and use your thumb, whether you're left-handed or right-handed, to hold in any bits that push out and make like corners, to make sure your burgers stay nice and even. And I press them out to about that thin, if you can, just so they're a nice size, and put that on the plate and just keep going. Get the pan heating up. Now I'm going to be using my big pan for this. Obviously, if you don't have a pan as large as mine, you're going to have to cook these in 2 batches or more. Got a pan heating up on medium high here, and I got some oil I'm putting in. Now you want to start these from cold, okay? Like I just turned the pan on just now. Because of the barbecue sauce, you do not want to wait till this is heated up completely, because then they will just stick and it's going to make a mess and your burgers are going to fall apart. So pour some oil in the pan and just take your first burger and use that sort of like a sponge there or a towel to get your oil distributed around the pan, and then just lay them in quickly one after another. Like I said before, if you don't have a humongous pan like I do, just cook them 4 at a time or 2 at a time or whatever you got to do. Some people cook hamburgers covered. I find, especially with this one, that you don't want to do that, all right? Because when you cook burgers covered, it causes condensation when the water comes out of the meat, and you get burgers that are a bit soggy. And because of the barbecue sauce, you really want that crispy thing happening on the outside to maximize the flavor. Give them a chance to start heating up, okay? But once you can start to smell the barbecue sauce coming off the pan there, that's when you want to get in with your spatula and just gently nudge them to make sure that they don't stick. Okay, and I'll just move the pan handle here for a minute. So you can move around the oil. And what you want to do is, if you do have one at the side that might be sticking a little, not yet, But what you do is just lift it up a little bit with the spatula and tilt the pan to get the oil underneath it before you put it back down, and that will minimize sticking in the pan. Okay, well, these are chugging along just nice there. And the next question is when to flip them for the first time, because you can flip these a few times. They're not going to suffer from it. Now, a good rule of thumb is when you start to see the pan start to get stained with the barbecue sauce that's dripping out of the burgers as they fry, that's a good time to gently pick one up and turn it over. Yeah, you can see that it's cooking up nice. And just get around with a spatula and do the other ones as well. And as you can see, all this oil I've got here is just the oil I put in at the beginning. Because it's extra lean, there's hardly any fat at all that's going to come out of the meat. And it won't really absorb into the burgers either. You're not going to have a greasy tasting burger. And if you're a little experienced and you're feeling adventurous, you can always shake the pan a little bit back and forth to keep them moving like that. Make sure they don't stick. When they're starting to look a bit dry on the top, just pick them up and turn them over. And I'll probably do this just one more time, and then they'll be ready to eat. I always use fresh hamburger meat, never frozen, but make sure you always follow the package regulations and cook them all the way through, because unfortunately the days of being able to eat undercooked hamburger meat are long gone, as in decades gone. Now when you see that the oil is going to start jumping up like that, you can turn them down a bit, because else it's going to spatter all over your kitchen. Now at this point, you can probably see them jumping right now. At this point, if you did want to get a piece of tin foil and put it on top, feel free. It's not going to interfere with the crispiness now. Or a spatter screen if you've got a smaller pan. The pan's really starting to darken up, and they're not sliding as easily as before, so this is definitely a good time to give them another flip. And from the color on the bottom, this is going to be the last one. You can tell from the way they're sticking, they're going to be done in a minute or two. You can have these in buns, like usual. You can put them on a plate, serve them up, make some, I don't know, whatever you like, ketchup, some more barbecue sauce, some gravy, or just as is like that with some mashed potatoes or whatever. So I'll just take one here and put it on a plate, check it for you, make sure it's cooked. Yeah. So there you go. I'll even give you a nice zoom there so you can see. You can see those are cooked all the way through. They're really juicy. They're going to be super tasty. And I really hope you try these. These are my barbecue sauce burgers. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again.